there again, we've got for those who are interested, let me pull that up. We've got a breakdown, an explanation of unrest in the media wiki.
Okay, cool.
Like I said, the game is just
ended.
Very, it's very. Oh, I was going to say that was quick. Lucky.
Yeah, no, not quite.
But no. The thing is, the thing about the game is, yes, there's a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of complexity, but it's the kind of thing where you can kind of just jump in and start playing and kind of pick it up as you go. Yeah. Unrest is based on the percentage of people's happiness, their percentage of satisfaction. And so, what happens with solar eclipse is that their unrest is increased by 50%. Ooh. And so if you've got a small city, if you've only got one citizen, it doesn't matter if the unrest is 50%. Because he's still going to be working. But if you have two citizens with an unrest of 50%, one of them is going to be working, one of them is going to be a rebel.
Yeah.
So the more citizens you have, the worse an unrest situation is.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm pretty excited.
And like I said, all this stuff. Okay.
I'm pretty excited. I've got a settler. I'm heading for another town while we talk. So that's where we're at here, and I think this is a tavern, right?
Yeah, and have you
or an inn?
Yes, if you're looking at remember, I've got a bit of a delay.
Oh yeah.
If you're talking about right by that mountain.
Yeah.
And by the way, you might want to show them the tool. I haven't seen you pull it up yet. The tool for picking city locations. Within the info menu there, where you can see how good a potential location is for a city.
Oh, the surveyor.
That's a handy little tool. Yes, the surveyor. That's what I meant.
Oh my god! I haven't looked at the info tab until today.
Oh, well, that's going to help you found much more useful cities.
I've just been putting them. Like I find these, I find these little circles. I figure out what they do individually, and I put my city near as many of them as possible. That's been my goal so far.
That's playing it the hard way. That's playing it with an extra level of challenge.
Excellent.
So yeah, you don't need to do that. So, and of course, by the way, you'll notice the little left-right arrows. Right now, obviously, you're looking at high men because you've got a high men settler. You can change that to draconias or whatever, and see what you're looking at. Because
cool.
Each of the terrain tiles. Each of the terrain tiles provide bonuses in maximum population, food, and production, as well as the world resources that you're looking at also provide benefits. But the terrain tiles themselves, and the stream has gone crazy for me. I'm trying to refresh it.
Yeah,
the tiles themselves, whether they're plains or swamps, they have an effect on the city that you're going to build there.
Gotcha.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Sorry, what happened was I had a friend try to call me on Skype, which is always a danger when you're hosting on Skype.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, looks like there it goes. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to use oops, sent him the wrong way. I'm going to use the surveyor to pick out our perfect spot for this guy.
And with high men, try to look around the plains. Plains are their preferred terrain.
Oh, okay.
Each race has a preferred terrain. Well, the unhallowed don't, but the normal living races have a preferred terrain. So the more plains you can get, the higher the max population is going to be. And
all right, very cool. Okay,
you got a lot of desert.
Yeah, I think I found a good spot because I have a maximum 11 pop. 37% food bonus, 31% production, which seems to be a good median,
That's not too bad. I usually aim for a little higher population than that, but that's...
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I also want to send my spearmen a little further on. For those of you guys taking off... for those of you guys thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. This stream has been incredible, and I hope to see you guys again soon. And while we're at it, Aaron, thank you for joining us. This stream so far has been... Can you hear me?
Yeah, glad.
Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Skype gave me a connection warning. It's been great having you so far today, man. Thank you so much for joining us and showing off this game.
Yeah.
Looks
Glad
like.
to. Absolutely.
So here's a question. The surveyor, right? There's this. There's a couple with 19 population. How does production bonus play into the game? Like, what does that percentage mean?
Okay, literally, it is a bonus to the production in that number. Or each worker produces 2 production.
Okay.
In a city. So if you've got a 50% production bonus, and you've got 1 worker, you will have 3 production instead of 2.
Interesting.
Okay, you follow me?
Yeah.
And it's a flat bonus that comes from the tile, and it's a simplified mechanic, much like what what Master Magic had. Very much like what Master Magic had, and as opposed to where like Civilization, where you have the tiles around the city and you're assigning labor to the different tiles around the city. We decided to go with a more simplistic flat bonus. For one thing, the game is very complex in other ways.
Yeah.
And so that's a simplified mechanic, and it's very easy to work with. You can make cities that are focused on food production and cities that are focused on actually building things. Now with High-Men, in particular, they're going to what you're going to want to aim at with High-Men is building cities that can get really, really big, even if the production bonus is low, because you'll have so many workers you can assign to labor. With dwarves, their preferred terrain is mountains, and so you can make smaller cities that have a much higher production value. And remember, because the races are mix and match, once dwarves get in the game, which is supposed to happen next week.
Ooh, nice.
Then you would be able to, take over a dwarvish city and kind of use the dwarves for your production. Each race you want producing certain units.
Okay.
But like one of the things you can do with production, of course, is make trade goods to generate extra gold income that you can then convert into mana and work toward making magic weapons. I mean, there's a great deal to the game, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm hoping with High-Men.
I'm hoping this playthrough we can get our hands on a hero and show off the magic item and hero systems too. So, hey, Kyle, absolutely. Welcome to the stream. Go ahead. Sorry.
One of the things. Oh, go ahead.
For those of you just joining us, this is Worlds of Magic, and I am speaking with Aaron Ethridge. I said your name right? I forgot to check the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this is Aaron Ethridge, one of the developers who worked on the title, and we're super excited to have him. So that's what we're doing today.
Yes. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, cool, sweet. But yeah, so far we've been having a blast with it. So now, the negative energy is an unhallowed thing, right? That's why
absolutely.
Yeah, that's why it's grayed out.
Exactly, and it works very much like food, not exactly. It's basically like food. Well, it's kind of like food and gold combined, because the unhallowed don't use food. They don't pay taxes, so they don't generate any gold income by default.
Okay.
Now you can generate gold because, if you're playing a sorcerer lord that's using the unhallowed, you don't negotiate with other sorcerer lords. You don't conquer other races. You're out to make undead universe.
Gotcha.
And there are certain mercenaries that will work for you if you can pay them enough. And so you have to do like, right over there you've got, like I said, I'm seeing this in delay, but you've got gold and silver on your map there.
Yeah.
You could set up a town there if you were playing the Unhallowed. You could set up a town there, build a mine, and you will start getting gold revenue from those, because literally you're mining and minting the metal yourself.
Gotcha.
But you don't do trade goods. There's no default gold generation for the Unhallowed. They have to go out and get gold.
That's got to be just
a
very challenging way to play.
It is, depending on... The thing is, they don't use gold as much as the other races. Basically, they exclusively use it for hiring heroes or converting it into mana. And so, in some way, it's not more difficult. It's different, because at the end of the day, their economy is more simplified. They don't have unrest. They don't pay taxes, but they don't have unrest.
Sure.
And so... They're very different. I think they're very flavorfully different. Like I said, I play everything because I have to test everything. But they're my favorite race to go kill. They're very they're to start with. They have very kind of Zergling tactics where you kind of spawn these cities. You make really disposable low tier units, and their higher tier units are kind of the opposite. They're a little bit more expensive and they're crazy. I mean, you got like arcane wraiths, which can fly. Yeah. They're incorporeal, and they can use magic. And you go, yeah, they're nasty. I mean, and that's So anyway, they're very different, and that's what negative energy is for. And of course,
very cool.
In the Shadow Plane, all the land is corrupted, which means it can't be used by the living races until it's purified. And the Unhallowed start with a bit of a leg up because only the Unhallowed start out on the Shadow Plane, and so they're only facing other sorcerer lords that are using the Unhallowed.
Gotcha.
But then when they break out of their nest, anywhere else they want to form a city in any of the other 6 planes, they have to corrupt at least one tile before they can found that city. And so they've got an easy early game to get entrenched, but then the game begins to get more challenging. So,
interesting. Very cool. Let's see. All right, cool. So
they definitely feel different. They're not they're not a bunch of human peasants dressed up like zombies.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear, because I don't think the Unhallowed faction or the Undead faction from Master of Magic was that different, was it? Maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, well, you had the yeah, well, I mean, you had the their summons were there wasn't really an undead faction per se, but you had all these different summons that and so you could use undead with the living races because the undead were more like a tool than an actual race, and so it was very, very different. But a lot of
it's been
a lot of
it's been a long time since I played Master of Magic. So if I misremember anything, don't feel bad.
And dude, and they had so many more races than we do. I mean, why?
Sure.
We want to get up to having more races than they originally had. But yeah, the undead faction was more a magic thing, and you could I'm trying to think of the spell names. I mean, I've played Master of Magic to an alarming number of hours, and there's so much to it that I can't remember a particular spell that turns a unit into an undead, and one of the guys watching may remember it right off the top of their head. It's like Black Channels. Maybe that's it. I'm actually looking it up real quick because
looks like we have some friends coming in here, so I'm going to raise a quick army with Ray's Militia. But Kyle, everybody else who's new, let me know if you have any questions or if you want to know anything about the game. This is our second playthrough because we bought the farm in the last one.
Yes, and you fought hard too. You did very well.
But
we have some people feel like the AI is now, and but really, like I said, we're about to start working on the AI, changing the way the sorcerer lords work, and like I said, the neutral cities won't be nearly as nasty as they are now, but the sorcerer lords will be much nastier.
Sure.
So. And there again, like I said earlier, when we get the difficulty settings in place, you'll be able to kind of, have a sort of casual game if you want, and throw your monitor across the room if you rather have that kind of game.
Dark Souls,
I want a keyboard smashing game. Yeah, exactly. So if anybody's got questions.
Yeah, definitely throw your questions. I'm trying the recommended tactic of summon zombies right in their face and and watch what happens, and it's pretty effective, I've got to say.
Yeah, seems to work. Like I said, that we're almost certainly going to change because that's That's too close to cheating, you know. Like I
Yeah.
said, summoning in a freet and then using